From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Samana Siddiqui. Our top story tonight. Modi is on a state visit and the White House has rolled out the red carpet. It sees India as a strong ally and buffer to the rising power of China and Russia. Tlaib says it is shameful that Modi has been given a platform in Washington. She recalled the Indian Prime Minister's long history of human rights violations, anti-democratic actions, censorship of journalists, and attacks on Muslims and other religious groups. Over 70 Democratic members of Congress have called on Biden to raise issues of human rights and democratic values with Modi. Earlier this month, the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR, called on congressional leaders to cancel Modi's speech. The nation's largest Muslim advocacy group says Modi's speech sends a message that the oppression of Christians, Muslims, Dalits, Sikhs, and other religious minorities is not an issue for the U.S. Congress. President Joe Biden is calling for safeguards to be built into artificial intelligence systems from their very inception. At a meeting on AI with civil society leaders in California, Biden said it is necessary to manage the risks to society, the economy, and national security that the technology poses. Last year, Biden's government released a report titled A Blueprint for an AI Bill of Rights. The document identifies several issues with AI systems, such as biased hiring and credit decisions, unsafe patient care, and privacy concerns. It also highlights the potential for AI to revolutionize the industry and benefit society. Critics are raising moral and ethical questions about a trip that right-leaning Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito took with a billionaire 15 years ago. Alito is believed to have taken a fishing trip to Alaska with billionaire Paul Singer in 2008. He then did not recuse himself from hearing a case involving Singer's fund. In a violation of professional ethics, Alito did not disclose the trip or his stay at a commercial fishing lodge owned by Robin Arkley. Arkley is a donor to the right-wing movement. The investigative news site ProPublica reports that Singer has repeatedly asked the Supreme Court to rule in his favor in high-profile business disputes. In a Wall Street Journal article, Justice Alito defended his decision to travel with Singer, rejecting charges that he violated federal law requiring Supreme Court justices to disclose most gifts. The revelations came after ProPublica revealed that another right-leaning judge, Clarence Thomas, has been taking trips funded by billionaires for decades. The FTC is accusing Amazon of deceiving millions of users into signing up for automatic renewal of its Amazon Prime service. The agency sued Amazon in federal court in Seattle on Wednesday. The FTC is seeking civil penalties and a permanent injunction to prevent the corporation from continuing the practice. It says the company made it difficult for consumers to cancel their paid accounts. Amazon is denying the government agency's allegations. The FTC's move against Amazon is the latest in a wider effort by the Biden administration to crack down on major technology companies. A new law is forcing thousands of workers to flee Florida. The new rule cracking down on undocumented immigrants was signed by Republican Governor Ron DeSantis last month. It goes into effect July 1st and requires businesses to verify the eligibility of all workers for employment. It has led to fears of a labor shortage in Florida as many businesses rely on undocumented immigrants to fill jobs. Even some Republican supporters oppose the law, saying it will negatively impact their bottom lines. Most Americans feel their fundamental freedoms are threatened. Full story after the break, so stay tuned and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Over 50% of Americans feel their basic freedoms are threatened. That's according to a new Monmouth College poll. It found that Republicans see their freedoms most threatened, and 38% say their free speech rights are threatened. Only 4 in 10 think the system of government is sound. 2 in 3 Republicans continue to believe that voter fraud determined the outcome of the 2020 presidential election. Democrats are most concerned about restricting access to abortion and other women's rights. They also want a more liberal approach to free speech, access to elections, and LGBTQ+ rights. Twitter CEO Elon Musk says the platform has no choice but to abide by local government rules. This is after a meeting with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New York this week. Musk says that if Twitter does not comply with local laws, access to the platform will be blocked. Modi is on a state visit to the United States this week. Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey recently said that India had threatened to shut down the social media platform in the past. Modi's government wanted Twitter to restrict accounts that criticized the way the Prime Minister handled the 2021 farmers' protests. Musk says the best way to proceed is to abide by local laws in a given country. He says Twitter will do its best to ensure freedom of expression, but you cannot just take America and apply it to the whole world. Musk, who is also CEO of Tesla, says Modi is pushing the electric car maker to make significant investments in India. India's Ministry of External Affairs confirmed that Modi had invited Musk to explore opportunities in India for investment in the electric mobility and commercial space sectors. Scientists have found high levels of dangerous chemicals in blood samples from dogs and horses in North Carolina. The traces of the chemicals are known as PFAS. They are believed to have been transferred to the animals by drinking groundwater from the Cape Fear River in eastern North Carolina. Researchers at North Carolina State University examined chemical levels in the blood of over 60 dogs and horses. They found that the animals had liver and kidney problems associated with PFAS compounds. Scott Belcher is one of the researchers. He says the chemicals could also affect children. In humans, PFAS compounds have been linked to kidney and testicular cancer, as well as thyroid problems. Some 2 million Muslims from across the world are gearing up to perform the Hajj pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia. As the 6-day rituals will begin from Monday, many pilgrims who have already arrived in Makkah are visiting the cave of Hira. The cave is about 2.5 miles from Makkah on the mountain of Jabal al-Nur. This week, pilgrims prayed throughout the night in and around the cave. The cave is notable because Prophet Muhammad received his first revelations from God through Angel Jibril in this cave. Pilgrims went to the top of the mountain to perform the morning prayers. Hajj, the pilgrimage to Islam's holiest site, the Kaaba in the city of Makkah, is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Palestinian homes in the occupied West Bank have been attacked by Israeli settlers and soldiers. Israeli settlers attacked the homes of Palestinians in Kafr al-Dik in the occupied West Bank on Wednesday. Witnesses say the settlers smashed the windows of several Palestinian homes and blocked access to the villagers' houses. Mohammed Naji, the mayor of Kafr al-Dik, condemned the attack. The incident follows Tuesday's attacks when Israeli authorities sealed off all accesses to villages and towns in the Salfit governorate. They allowed Jewish settlers to set fire to vehicles and houses. These attacks by Israeli settlers on Palestinians' property have become commonplace in the occupied West Bank. Human rights organizations have strongly criticized them and consider them collective punishment. That is a violation of international law that amounts to a war crime. Tensions in the occupied West Bank have escalated due to repeated Israeli military operations in Palestinian towns. According to the Palestinian Authority Health Ministry, Israel has killed 174 Palestinians in the occupied territory since the beginning of this year. That is an average of more than 1 person per day. Global human rights organization Amnesty International is calling on Pakistan to stop harassing and arbitrarily arresting Afghan refugees. Since the Taliban took power in Afghanistan in 2021, many Afghans have fled to Pakistan. Pakistan initially allowed Afghans to move freely, but it has since arrested them and threatened them with deportation. One Afghan refugee told Amnesty International that Pakistani police raided his home and detained him and 20 other Afghans, including those with valid visas. Most of those detained had worked in the Ministry of Interior in Kabul before the Taliban took power. Pakistani authorities often rely on the Aliens Act to detain Afghans with valid documents. Amnesty International has called on Pakistan, the UN High Commission for Refugees, and other countries to speed up the registration and issuance of visas for Afghan refugees. The unclear legal status of Afghan refugees in Pakistan and the lengthy process for granting asylum or resettlement to a third country have made them even more vulnerable. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Salam and good night.